Hi everybody, this is Pam with Jesusjunkjournals, and we are going to get ready to put our cover on our Luke journal today. So I've got my Matthew journal out here because I want to measure it because they're all the same size. I want them to all be the same size. So I'm going to cut cardboard. I'm just going to cut a piece of cardboard for the cover, one for the back cover, and then the piece for the spine. So I'm measuring this out, and it's 5 3/4 wide, and it is 9 inches long, looks like. So I need 2 pieces of cardboard that size, and then I need the spine. And I'm feeling the cardboard because I have a little bit of, the gussets add a little bit of space. So it looks like about 2 3/4 inches wide on the spine. Or, I don't know, maybe 2 1/2. 2 1/2 might work. Okay, so I'm going to go and I'm going to get cardboard. You can use cardboard boxes, nice cardboard, corrugated, or you can use chipboard, like from a cereal box. And if you use that, I would use at least two layers of it and just glue it together. Cut your pieces out. And then we will be back. I'm going to do that, and then I'll come back and go from there. Okay, I went back and remeasured my spine, and it was actually 2 3/4 inches wide that I think it needs to be. So I changed that, but I've got my other pieces cut, and I'm going to use masking tape. I just use corrugated cardboard, but you can use chipboard. If you have old cereal boxes, just glue a couple layers of that together, and you can use that. So now I'm going to put these together, and I'm going to allow like I'd say 1/4 inch. I don't know how, probably it looks like more than 1/4 inch, but no, about 1/4 inch. Okay. For it to move and bend. And I'm going to use glue with my masking tape. And you can use, what is it? Kevlar? Not Kevlar. Oh my gosh. There's a Tyvek. Kevlar is bulletproof. We don't want that. So Tyvek, you can buy. I bought this a long time ago because I thought that that's what it had to be to make it strong enough and everything. But what I have found since then, for me at least, I'm perfectly happy to use just masking tape, double layer that. But if you're really going to have a lot of wear and tear, or you just want to be extra safe, you can get Tyvek. I think mine came from Amazon. And it's just super tough. You can't tear it. I mean, it's just, and you can glue that over your seams. So I'm going to use my masking tape today. Just put some glue. Oops, well, there went my 1/4 inch, but that's all right. This usually takes me a few times to get it all put together. So I'll go ahead and do that one. That might be a little wide. There. And put that over the glue. Smash it down. Wipe that off. And then I'll get this lined back up again. And tape it. Flip it over and just repeat the process. You can either cut that tape off or... Oh, sorry, my dogs are upstairs. That's my snoring dog over there making that noise. I have done a really good job keeping them out, but today I didn't get the gate shut and I didn't feel like going back down there. So they're up here with me, and most of them are quiet, but my Boston Terrier likes to snore. So sorry about that. Okay, so now I don't probably need to do this, but I'm going to go ahead and put that there. Just so it's uniform when I put the other stuff over it. Okay, so there's my frame. And you check it, make sure it folds real nice, flexible. And so now you need one more piece of cardboard. And for that, I'm going to use chipboard. I'm going to use a cereal box. And I need an inside spine that I'm going to sew my signatures to, and then I'll glue it in here when we bind it. And so what I need it to be is just a little bit short and a little bit short this way, smaller than my spine. And so since my spine was 9 by 2 3/4, I will make this 2.5. Let's see. Yeah, I'll do 2.5. And no, I don't need it to be 9. Let's see, do I want it to be 9? Let me think for a minute. I'll make it 8. Let's see. Let me find my signatures. My signatures are going to be 8. Yeah, so they can be 8.5 and fit in there. So we'll do 8.5. 8.5. Okay, so, and then I'll cut that out with my scissors. And I've got these cheap scissors. I always talk about them. They were like $1 a pair. I think now they're $1.25 a pair, but I don't mind cutting cardboard with them because they're cheap and they work. Do a pretty good job. And then we're going to sew our signatures to this. And we have 4 signatures, or I have 4 signatures. So let me explain the logic of how I sew these in, for me anyway. Okay, so I have 4 signatures to put in this space. And so a signature, let's look at one for a second. The middle of it's here, but you see it puffs out on each side. So you need to leave room on each side of that center line. So you want to put your line over from the edge a little bit to allow room for the pages. So the first one, I'm going to allow about that much room. And so that is, let me measure it for you, about, easier with this one, 1/4 inch, looks like I came in. Yeah, about 1/4 inch in. And I might as well use a ruler since I know that now. And mark it down here, 1/4 inch and 1/4 inch. And so that's where the first signature will go in, is sewn in on this line. Okay. So then we have 2 more signatures, and so you figure your signature is going to be here in the middle, but the pages will stick out about that much. And then when you sew your other signature in, their pages are going to stick out about that much. So you want that to be at least here. And so that's one way to look at it. And then the other way you can look at it is, well, I have 2 signatures here, so I need to put 2 signatures somewhere. So you could just split the difference and sort of make it like 1/2 inch. It's a little more than 1/2 inch. It's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/8 of an inch in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/8 of an inch in would be there. let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if I put that there, I'm coming in 5/8 of an inch from each side. And so they're pretty close to the same. And so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it's easier to see on this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like that. The other way you can do this, if you don't like to use a ruler, is just take a little piece of paper and fold it up in, like, let me show you real quick. So like if I want to take this piece of paper and I want to cut it, just cut a piece about the width of your spine. And what you could do is, let's see, you need it in thirds actually, because there's thirds in between these. So what you could do, well, what you would need to do is you would need to fold it over that little bit on the side, which is here. So you could fold it over just a little bit on the side, and then you could fold this in thirds and do it. Will that work? Yeah, except you got to get it in thirds. So and for some this may be more complicated than using a ruler, but sometimes I just don't like to use a ruler. So what that would give me is my lines. So there's my mark there, there's my mark there, there's my mark there, there's my mark there. So they're pretty similar to what I did with the ruler. But if you understood what I did there, let me just say it again. I folded in that little amount that I knew I needed on each side. And then with the space that was left, I folded it into thirds. And that gave me my lines for the 4 signatures. So however you want to do it, and then let's see, I need to draw. Let me draw lines here so I know where to poke my holes. I'm going to take an awl, poke my holes, and then I'm just going to sew my signatures to this. So since I'm going to use a ruler for this, so since I know it's 9 inches, so I know, oh no it's not, it's 8.5. I'm sorry, 8.5, but my frame is 9. So I'm going to go, oh, let's go 4 inches. No, 4. I'm going to go 4 1/4 inches. That's the center of this. So 4 1/4 is here. And I'm going to, so this kind of gives me an eyeball. I'm just going to eyeball it. That's where my awl will poke a hole on these lines. And then I need another one up here. And so I'm just going to do one here, and I'm just eyeballing it like that. And the same down here. And then I'm going to take my awl and let me get a piece of styrofoam just to be on the safe side. And I'm going to poke these holes. And then I'm going to take my thread. Let's see, I'll use brown. Take a small upholstery needle. And actually, I'm not going to use brown. I'm going to use this orange, I think. And same as we did before, I'm going to do about 2.5 times the height of the signature. You flatten it out with your thumbnail, and it goes right into your needle. Pull a little bit of a tail out of it. And then you're going to make sure that you get, first of all, that you get your signatures in the order that you want them to be. And the second thing, you want to make sure they're right side up, because I have had to redo these before. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my signature and I'm going to put it, wow, that's really close to the edge. Do I want to do that? I'm going to readjust my holes. I'm going to move them over because that's too close to the edge for me. So I'm going to go over just about that far. I'm just eyeballing it. Yeah, and repoke those holes. There we go. Better. So now I'm going to take my signature and I'm going to center it top to bottom on here with this line. And see, I know this is my first one because it says Luke, so that's my title page. And then I'm going to make a mark right here, just a little mark, so I know where the hole is going to go that I'm going to poke. So over here, and then I'm going to take my foam and find my center, and I'm going to poke the hole in my signature where that little mark is. And we're going to sew this to this, and so I'm going to come from the back side and I'm going to start in the middle, and I actually have watched people bind these in a different way, and I'm going to start doing it. You know, I've always told you forever and ever that we're making a figure 8, but there's actually a way that's just a little bit easier, and I'm going to do that today. So I'm going to go up from here. I'm going to put it in that hole that I poked. I'm going to put it in the top hole up here that I poked. Well, come on now. It should just go right in there. And then put that in this hole. And then instead of doing the figure 8, I'm just going to go all the way up to this top and put it in here, and then put it in that hole that I poked, if I can find it. Oh, here it is. And then I'm going to take this and put it down in the middle. And what I'm going to do is put it on the other side of this thread. So I'm going to see how it's coming through here. I'm going to put it back through that hole. And then I'm going to take this right here and put it in the middle of those two. I'm going to pull it tight, and then I'm going to tie a knot on top of that. So it's a little bit easier than doing the figure 8. You don't have to fight quite as hard to get it through the middle hole. So I think I'm going to try to make myself do that from now on. So I'm going to do it, I do 3 times just to make sure. And then I'm going to cut those off. And so now we've got the first one on there. So now we'll take our second one, and I don't really have a preference of which one of these goes second, I don't think. Maybe I do. I'm going to put this thicker one. I think this one's thicker. I'm going to put this one next. And so I'm going to flip this over, and we're going to work on this line right here. So I lay my signature here, and I line it up so that it's going to start about the same place as the other signature, top to bottom. And I'm going to make a mark where the little hole will go that I punched. And here's that one. And there's that one. Make my all in my styrofoam, find the middle of it, and punch those holes there, and there, and down here. Okay, and then thread my needle again, so 2.5 times the 1, 2, 2.5, and thread it and leave a little bit of a tail. I'm going to come from the back side of this cardboard and this middle hole, so I'm just going to put it in there and then poke it through this middle hole. And always double checking that you've got it right side up. And then I'm going to put it up here in the top hole. Pull it through. And then put it through this top hole. And carefully flip it over so I don't lose this. I don't want to lose this tail here. And pull it tight. And then instead of going back with the figure 8 we used to do where we'd go through the middle, we're going to go all the way down to the bottom. Go through that hole. And then put it in this hole that we punched in the signature. And I'm pulling that just a little bit more there. And then I'm going to flip this over, show you that I'm just going to go back through the middle hole. And I want to find the middle hole on the cardboard. And try not to snag. Still, you don't want to snag that thread if you can help it. So I'm going to, there. Okay. And pull that through. Pull the needle off. Pull it tight. Make sure it's real tight. There's no slack. And then tie the 2 or 3 knots, however you feel comfortable. Trim it off. And we're ready for the next one. And I'm going to put my, let's see, do I want to put my journaling one next? No, I think I'll leave the journaling one till the back on this one. Okay, so here we go. We're going to do the third signature. Make sure you've got it right side up. Lay it on this line. Line it up just like the other ones, about the same distance top to bottom as this. And then look for your hole you poked, and there's the mark right there. And there's that mark. And here is this hole here. Okay. Styrofoam, open it to the center. Poke my holes where my marks are. And you know, we sewed these already, the signature sewn. And so the holes are in different spots on purpose. It's better if they're a little bit offset and not in the exact same hole. But if you get it, if it is exact, it's okay, it'll work. I just prefer to have it a little bit in a different spot. Okay, so I've poked my holes, thread my needle. 1, 2, 2.5, and get our cardboard, or chipboard rather, poke it through that center hole and leave a little bit of a tail there, and then poke it through this center hole that I just punched. And then put it through the top. Boy, it wants to hook everything. Okay, and then through this hole. All the way down to this hole, which is the second one. And then through this one that I punched. Let me flip this around so I can see it. Let's see, where is it? And I'm gonna pull the tail out of there. Okay, and I'm grabbing this tail so I don't, oh, I've got a lot, so I'm gonna go ahead and pull it. So I have enough. And then I'm gonna go back through that center hole and try really hard not to snag that orange thread. And then pull that super tight. Oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't get that one. I'm supposed to have gotten that one in the middle. I didn't do that one right. I think it'll still be okay, so I'm going to leave it. But this time I'm going to make it one on one side of this thread, one on the other. Pull it super tight, and then tie my knots over the top. One on one side, one on the other of that middle thread. Okay, cut that. There's 3 of them. Now all we have left to do is the signature for journaling. Okay, so let me put this away and I'll be right back. Okay, so here's our framework. And what we're going to do, make sure we've got it right side up, we're going to glue this in to the middle like that. And so you'll have a little bit of space all the way around this when you do that. And you're going to want to put it in there really well. Like clamp it in is what I'm trying to say. So we're gonna get this in here, kind of smush it around a little bit, get that glue moved around, get it even top to bottom and side to side. Got 1/4 inch on each side of that. And then I'm gonna take a couple of clamps and clamp that in place. Get a little bit bigger one. And it's going to wiggle around because of the glue, so be sure you get it straight. Get that pretty straight line there and back here. And then I'm going to fold this back and put a clamp on here. And I can only do it on one side, but that should help it glue really well. And so I'm just going to leave that overnight, and then I'll come back and we will continue on with this journal. So I hope that was clear and easy, and I hope you enjoyed watching it, and I will see you on the next video. Bye-bye.